Hi, and welcome to episode, I think it's 7, it might be 6, I'm not sure, of the Beks Creates podcast. My name's Beks and I am coming to you from Bristol, where I live with my partner Paul and my cat Mufasa, who is just stalking around the kitchen because there's another cat lurking around by the garden, so he's not very happy. It is Saturday the 30th of May. It's another beautiful day, but I just thought I'd get a little podcast in today, as I've got to go back to work full time from Monday, so I don't know when I'll have time to record from then on in. I don't know what the new normal routine is going to be like, so I thought I'd squeeze one in. So it's just the end of half term. Again, another funny half term, although I've been able to do a little bit more. I've had socially distant meetups with a friend and been to the garden centre, so it feels like, so adventurous. And it is 10:15 on Saturday morning and I've already had a really busy start to the day. Today is Virtual Yorkshire Yarn Fest. They've been doing an event once a month during lockdown and they've been really successful. And Bird Street UK, Mr. B's Yarn, Claire and John did a slot. They were second up this morning, so they did a slot at 8:45. And after our experience of, I think it was Virtual Wonderwall, we sort of found that it was useful for them to have somebody keeping them updated on what was in stock, because every time they showed anything on screen it was already out of stock, so people were sort of getting a bit disappointed. So this time I sort of monitored what was going on Etsy and was commenting to let them know what was in stock, etc., and sort of helping them to keep up with questions and things. So it was actually really fun. It was so busy, a really crazy sort of 20 minutes or so, but it was really good fun. I was buzzing afterwards, so that was good. And do check out Yorkshire Yarn Fest if you can today. There are exhibitors all day. I think some yarn dyers, some bag makers, some designers. So yeah, do check in with them if you have time. It's really worth a look. I'll try and get this podcast up straight away so you see this. A good friend of mine, Sophie from Pixie Yarns, is on at 2:10, so I shall be looking out for her, but I expect I'll be dipping in and out as the day goes on. So yeah, it's been an interesting week. We had another big announcement on Thursday to say that lockdown is being eased a little bit more, and from Monday we can have up to 6 people gathering in a garden or a public space, so that's really nice. That means my mum can come and see my garden and Paul's parents can come round, and it's going to be really lovely. But yeah, it was also confirmed that I will be going back to work, so that's going to be really interesting. Other exciting things that have happened this week: I treated myself to a big luxury item that I've wanted for a very long time. Well, since I moved out of mum and dad's, I have really missed my mum's KitchenAid stand mixer. I love a bit of baking, and she's had it for about 10 years, so I've been very used to using that. So sort of going back to using a hand whisk was a bit of a step down. So when we decided to cancel our holiday, I decided that I would spend that money on a treat instead, and I bought myself a KitchenAid. So I've been very excited this week. She's ice blue, she's very pretty, and she's called Flo because we would have been going to Florence, so I thought that was a good name for her. And I've already baked lots of things. I've made a sourdough, some focaccia, a few batches of cookies, a couple of cakes. So I'm looking forward to baking a few more things later today. I'm going to be baking a birthday cake for my dad, whose birthday is tomorrow. So yeah, that's been really exciting too. And I've had a really good week in the garden. I've been very busy in the garden. It's amazing how you can just lose time so quickly. So that's been really fun, and it's looking really good now. It's really, lots of things are bursting into flower and filling up, so that's really lovely. So yeah, it's been a good week, but I fit a fair amount of knitting in. I had a bit of a cast on party at the beginning of the week because I didn't really have very many whips on the go. So I think I've got plenty to show you, although I think it'd be just a quick one today. I've only got one finished object and I don't have any acquisitions. I know, right? But I probably will by the end of the day with Yorkshire Yarn Fest, I'm sure. Sorry, I keep fiddling with my hair, but I went through the stage last week where it was just a really nice length, and then that lasted about 2 days, and then it just started doing this annoying flicky thing as soon as I straightened it. So I miss my hairdresser. So finished objects, Dad, if you're watching, look away now, please. So I wanted to podcast today so that I could show you these before I give them to Dad for his birthday tomorrow. So I have finished his dark side socks, just a pair of shorties. I managed to whip those up in just over 2 weeks, which was really good. And I'm really glad I've got something handmade to give him. The colour is Mr. B yarn in the dark side. I know he doesn't have this at the moment. But it is a beautiful one of their Star Wars colourways. Really gorgeous. Love knitting those, although I have knit a pair almost identical for Paul, so it was a bit like deja vu, but shorty socks don't take long even for big man feet. I must get some men's size blockers, I think, because I can't really show you them properly like that. Okay, so what to go for first? So one you've seen before to start off with. Show you the picture to remind you. These are the swirly socks by Prairie Girl Designs. Really cool. Just wanted a nice, slightly different pattern for a pair of self-striping socks. So I have, you've seen this one. That's sock number 1, and I've not done the toe yet because I was just a bit worried about yarn management. And on the second sock, I am 1 rainbow repeating, and as you will see, I've done them so that the like swirl, as it were, is going in the opposite direction, just so you've got like a left and a right. I thought that would be a bit of fun, and it's been nice to sort of make a bit of a change for the second sock, so that was cool. I'm not really using the chart because it's so simple to remember, but basically if you were, you could just literally turn the chart upside down for the second sock. So yeah, those are coming along. Those are going to be from me because I love them a million. My goddaughter did make me feel a bit guilty though the other day because I saw her for the first time in absolutely months. We went for a little socially distanced picnic, and I gave her a ballet cardigan that I'd made her just before lockdown, and she loved it. She put it straight on and wouldn't take it off even though it was a boiling hot day. So I said to her, what would you like Auntie Beks to make you next? And she said rainbow socks. And then I instantly felt guilty because I was knitting a pair of Trolls yarn rainbow socks for myself when she would absolutely adore them. But it's fine. My lovely friend Rachel, who is from the This Knitty Life podcast, has really kindly offered to send me some scraps of some rainbow stripy yarn so that I can make her a pair of socks, because she's only got tiny little feet. She's only 4, so she will get her rainbow socks. It was also really nice on the picnic because I was sitting on my first Cozy Memories blanket, which unfortunately I do kind of think of as my ugly blanket. It's not the most carefully thought through. And she was spotting, even from her 2 meter distance, which she was very good at, she was spotting squares in the blanket that had been made with yarn that I'd made things for her in. So she was like, I've got a jumper in that one. So that was really cute. She is definitely very appreciative of my knitting, so that's lovely. Okay, so next one, I wanted to cast on another pair of socks, and these are actually going to be a gift. Here they are. This is another Fab Funky Fibres yarn. I have to show you the tag because all of their tags are just so cool. So funny. This is called Big Top. So it's like a circus inspired one. See the colours. I reckon it reminds me of Licorice All Sorts. I love it. And what I've done on this one, as you know, I love to do a simple pattern on self-striping yarn. I've just, on the colour change, when the colour change happens, I slip every 4th stitch for 2 rounds, but I start that from wherever the colour change happens. So if the colour change happens in the middle of the row, I start the slip stitches from there and then go round till each one has been slipped twice. Because then it just gives a really, really nice effect. And these are just going to be little shorties for a gift. So they're really nice. Not very far into these, but I've not spent much time on them at all. So those are cool. Sorry. Noises by the back door. My next one is a new cast on. So I wanted to really make sure that I used, you know, the extra time we have at the moment from not going out and things in the evenings and weekends, to get ahead of the gift knitting curve a little bit. So I wanted to make sure that all the baby gifts that I knew I would need for a while were done before the end, you know, really before Monday when I go back to work properly. So I cast on another little prairie fire jumper. So just to remind you, I know I've talked about this quite a lot before, but the pattern is by Tin Can Knits, one of their fabulous, you know, hugely multi-sized patterns. So it goes from, you know, 0 to 3 months to several XL. And this pattern usually has a lovely lace panel which starts here and then gets wider and wider and goes round and meets in a point in the middle of your back. And it's lovely, and I've done the lace pattern loads of times and it's really doable and lovely, but sometimes it's just nice as just a nice little raglan sweater pattern. So I've just done that. The yarn is Mr. B's in Beaujolais. It's on their Elba DK base, and I love knitting with DK at the moment because it just grows so fast. So honestly, I can't have spent any more than 2.5 hours on this. So quick, so tiny. And I think this is the 3 to 6 month size. I think I went up one because this is for a baby who's due in July. So I thought an autumn size one would be better. So as you can see, I'm very near casting off. I think in fact that's all I have to do is cast off the body, and then I shall just do short sleeves. So I literally pick up and just knit a calf. So that will be done by the end of today, hopefully. And that is living in my Yarnivore bag from Vicky and Charlie at Stitchers Tees. I love their stuff. I keep almost ordering a neon print t-shirt, and I haven't got around to it yet, but I will at some point, definitely. Okay, so bigger whips. One you haven't seen for a while. So I mentioned the other day that my Cozy Memories blanket had kind of ground to a bit of a halt because I'd run out of grey yarn. So I received a big delivery. I think I got 10 balls of Drops Baby Merino from Wool Warehouse. And I've been able to add a few more squares. So I can't really remember where it was last time I showed you, and I'm really sorry because I haven't sewn in ends for ages. So this is where we are now. So the middle is where the marker is. So I've got, I know those 5 squares are new because I've done those the last couple of days. And there's this side. I loved knitting this one. Now this was one of the minis that lovely Caroline, Seaside Girl Knits, sent me. And she said that most of the ones that were unlabelled were Lay Family yarns, and I'm pretty sure, I'd be surprised if I was wrong, I'm pretty sure this is Bruised Peach. And it was just such a nice colour to knit with. It just made me think of ice cream. I just love it. And knowing my lovely friend Kelly dyed it is even better. And then I think this is the other new side here. So I still have to do one more square here, and then 6 squares along here before I do the corners, and that round is finished. But it's such a nice project, this one. I just like to pick it up, you know, when I'm watching TV or when I'm waiting for dinner to cook. Actually, talking of Kelly at Lay Family Yarns, she's doing a knit along at the moment called the Stolen Moments Make Along, I think. And it's just about having a little project that you can kind of grab when you've got that 5 minutes. So it might be, you know, keep it on the kitchen table and do it for 5 minutes while you're waiting for something to cook, or sort of 5 minutes when you wake up in the morning, or I don't know, I'm trying to think of other examples. Just those like few moments when you just think, oh, I've just got time to just do a few rows on something small. So really that would be a good one for that, but obviously it's not going to be a finished object for a very long time. Knowing me and my blanket projects. But the good thing is, because I've been able to get a bit of a move on with that, I have been able to make another magic knot ball to feed my crochet blanket. So usually I use my ball winder and make a magic cake, but I was sitting watching telly and just sort of fancied winding some yarn, so I did it by hand. And this, I can't really get it on camera, but it's so pretty because you can just see sort of the layers of colour beneath. It looks a bit like a self-striping gobstopper, and it's so pretty. There's some lovely yarns in here, so I'm excited to get that moving into my crochet blanket. It's quite nice actually, because when I did this crochet blanket, it was quite thought through, and I wanted to almost like fade the colours into each other, like a bit of a gradient. So I had to wait till I had quite a lot of colours to go into it before I could make the cake, so that I could plan the sequence. But with this, I can add them in a bit more freely, so I don't need, you know, 200 grams before I can make another ball. So that's quite cool. Yeah, really pleased with that. So my final work in progress is my What the Fade still, but I've been really pleased with my progress on this week. I've been quite motivated to do it, which is good, because the rows are now, I would say, probably 400 plus stitches long. Sorry, I've got all sorts of tangles going on here because I am at a fade section, so I've got 2 yarns attached. So this is the What the Fade Shawl by Andrea Murray. You've heard me talk about it before. So it's got a beautiful brioche section. It's got some brioche fades, which are, they're not a nightmare to do, but they're a fiddly job because you've got a lot of yarn going on at once. And then you've got this lovely garter fade section, and it's just lovely. This is where the yarn really shines, I think, because obviously in the brioche you've kind of got the 2 colour element and you've got a bit of a fade going on, but here you can really see the 6 colours fade one into the next, and I'm really happy with that. They're fading so beautifully. I'm fading in the 5th colour now. Sorry, that's the back. So you can just see, which is good. You don't want them to be glaringly obvious where the fades are, so that's really good. But yeah, as I say, the rows are long now. It takes probably 15 to 20 minutes to knit one row. So, you know, it's 2 or 3 rows at a time at the moment. But that's fine. I won't be wearing it for a long time. But I am kind of keen. I've got quite a few other projects that I really want to cast on soon, so I'm kind of keen to really get moving with this. I'm kind of dreading the bind off, because as you can see, or can't see, it's very hard to show. As you can see, the edging is an I-cord. Probably might show better in the darker colour, which I love. I love I-cord edging. It looks so pretty, and so it like gives it a really professional finish. Like it looks really nice where it's cast on there. Just gives it a really nice edging, but obviously an I-cord bind off takes a long time anyway. Let me have a look how many stitches it will be. Excuse the rustling of paper. 569 stitches. Yeah, that's going to be a long job. That's going to need a couple of cups of coffee or something. But I know it will be worth it. I know I will wear it all the time, and I can't wait to make the tassels either. So I will keep on ploughing on with that one. And like I said last week, my next shawl on the needles is going to be Fleur by Espace Tricot. I've had quite a few messages about that one. It's going to be beautiful. I really, really want to knit that. So, cool, I'm doing well. It's only 20 minutes. So, I don't have any acquisitions, but I've got a couple of the things I want to talk about. Firstly is future knitting. So, I'm quite an unusual knitter in the fact that I don't often go with the trends that everybody else does. So, for example, I will hold my hands up and say, I don't like colourwork sweaters. I can appreciate the work that goes into them. I can appreciate the scale and the design, but I wouldn't wear them. I wouldn't buy them in a shop, so I don't see the point in knitting them. What else? Let me think. So the fashion for knitted tees and vest tops doesn't really work in my brain either, because for me, if it's hot, then knitwear is too hot. Even linen or cotton is too hot, it's too near my skin. No. And yeah, I don't really get why you would have like a knitted short sleeve jumper. If it's warm enough for wool, then you need long sleeves. I don't know, don't get me started with it. So I don't really have any interest in knitting any of those things. But this week, my friend Lydia shared in our knit group chat that Wool and Pine, the designer, is bringing out a version of the sorrel sweater for the summer called the Summer Sorrel. I think it's available on Monday. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, actually, I really like the look of that. It's got a nice neckline. I liked the sorrel sweater anyway. I was sort of considering knitting that. But when I saw the summer one, I was quite interested. So I am going to give it a go. I think it should only take 2 skeins of fingering yarn, so it's not a huge investment. You know, it's not buying 5 skeins of DK, or, you know, 3 skeins of fingering and some mohair. So if I don't love it, then it's no biggie. I can probably give it to Claire or something. So I was having a little look through my stash and I found these 2. So some of the pattern pictures show it knit as a fade, and I've had these 2 in my stash for a little while. I think both of them were my wages for running the shop at Flock at different points. So this one is Raspberry Special, and so pretty. Lovely, like deep pinks and pale pinks, and then some sort of orange speckles, and there's sort of even some like purpley bluey speckles. I can show them. Hang on, try and get it to focus. I can't see if it's focusing properly because I didn't have my glasses on. And this one is Kiss a Wookie, which I just adore, and I've almost been just like keeping this just because I love it so much, which is ridiculous. Look at those speckles, they're amazing. So I thought, because it's got kind of the orange in both and the pinks in both, they kind of tie together quite nicely, that might make quite a nice fade. So I might use those, although I have got my eye on some of Sophie's gradient sets that she's got at Yorkshire Yarn Fest today. So I might see when she does her update at 12 o'clock. Can't decide. But yeah, that's probably going to be next on my needles. I want to get rid of a few other whips, and then I'm going to cast on Flirt, and I'm going to cast on Summer Sorrel, and then eventually I'll cast on my 3rd whip more. So the final thing I wanted to talk about was last week I showed you my amazing 3D printed Turkish spindle that my nephew made for me. So Jake is 23. He's the cleverest person I know by a mile. And he has Duchenne muscular dystrophy. So obviously he is in a very, very high risk category with the current situation. So he has to be very protected, as does his brother Max. So he has to stay at home. He really, really has to be kept safe. So to combat the boredom, he bought himself a 3D printer. Now his movement is very limited, very, very limited. So literally his brain does all the work. He's incredible. And he made this as one of the things, I think my sister mentioned to him that it's something that could be done, and, you know, something that's useful. So he is actually really keen to make some more of these. So if you are a spinner or a wannabe spinner like myself and might like one, he would like to sell these for £12.50 each. So if you might be interested, let me know. You can either comment below this video, or you can direct message me on Instagram. I'm Beksy Norms on Instagram, or you can message me on Ravelry, but I'm not brilliant at checking my messages. And you know, he would love to take your order. They are really cool. Obviously I don't spin yet, so I can't speak from experience, but Claire's been using hers and she said it's the best Turkish spindle she's used, and she, you know, she's quite an experienced spinner. So, you know, they come highly recommended, and he does them in funky colours. I don't understand how it works, so I don't know what capability he's got to do it in loads of different colours. I know Claire's got a red one and I've got a pink one, but I'm sure we can ask him those questions. So yeah, if you are interested, you might be interested, please let me know. It would really make his day to get a few orders for those. So that's it for today. It's a little bit of a shorter one, but it's been nice to come and share my makes with you. So yeah, I don't know when I'm going to be back. I have no idea what the new routine is like, whether my days will be back to normal long school days, or whether they'll still be slightly shorter. I just don't know. I've never taught 15 4-year-olds in a class before, so it's going to be interesting. But in the meantime, I hope you all stay safe and well. Enjoy the, you know, the new things that we're allowed to do, seeing friends and family again, but please stay safe and please be careful, and keep knitting, and I will see you as soon as I can. Okay, thanks for watching. Take care, everyone.